Coming up on Network Africa, at least 20 people die in Somalia after Al-Shabaab militants launch an attack on a restaurant and hotel in Mogadishu. Taxi drivers strike again in South Africa, this time in the economic hub of Johannesburg. And aid agencies seek $65 million to care for Congolese refugees in Angola. Hello and welcome to the program. I'm Joke Rogers. We begin today in the Horn of Africa, where at least 20 people have died in a combined suicide bomb and gun attack at a hotel and restaurant in Somalia's capital, Mogadishu. The attack started on Wednesday evening as Muslims were breaking their daily Ramadan fast. Militants from the Al-Shabaab group held about 20 hostages during a shootout with police, which has now ended. The Al-Qaeda-affiliated group admitted carrying out the attack this morning. The militant group has launched a series of deadly attacks on Mogadishu and other government-held regions in recent months. This is the first major incident since the holy month of Ramadan began 3 weeks ago, a time when Al-Shabaab usually increases the frequency of its attacks. In Lesotho, the estranged wife of incoming Prime Minister Thomas Thabane has been shot dead 2 days before his inauguration. 58-year-old Lipolelo Thabane was traveling home with a friend when both women were shot by an unknown assailant. The police say the motive is unknown, but an investigation is continuing. The couple have been living separately since 2012 and filed for divorce, which hasn't been granted. In Europe, the Portuguese Maritime Police says it has rescued 46 migrants, including children, from a dinghy in the Aegean Sea. The 7 children, 11 women and 28 men are from Congo, Guinea, Mali, Syria, Iraq and Iran. One of the migrants had to receive oxygen after being rescued. They were transported by Portuguese maritime officers to the Lesbos island in Greece. Taxi drivers in South Africa have blocked major highways in the country's economic heartland of Gauteng, leaving thousands of commuters stranded. The protest is aimed at bringing down the cost of buying Toyota Quantum taxis, the main mode of transport for workers. The strike affects residents of the main city, Johannesburg, and the capital, Pretoria. Let's get more on this story from our South Africa Bureau Chief, Betty de Beer, who joins us live from Johannesburg. You're welcome to the program. What more can you tell us about the taxi drivers' strike in Johannesburg?
That's what they call them, taxis here, affiliated to the South African National Taxi Council. Their protest was against a company, a financial institution called SA Taxi Finance Holding. And their protest was against the money that they have to pay, because the payment for the minibus taxis is usually spread out over 72 months. So a minibus taxi that would ordinarily cost 450,000 rand, by the time they spread it out, it goes to over a million rand. So they're supposed to pay 15,000 rand monthly for the payment. So that was their protest. They're saying that the interest rate is too high. That's 28% that they have to pay. And they took the memorandum, what they call the memorandum of grievances, to the place, and they blocked. The place is located in a place called Midrand. It's like going from Lagos to Ibadan, and midway through, they blocked both sides of the highway. So people couldn't go to work, people couldn't come from Pretoria, people couldn't go. Even the other side roads, there was a problem for people going to school, going to work as well.
We understand the protests by the drivers turned violent at some point. How are the police reacting to this?
I wouldn't say, generally it wasn't violent. I will admit that there was intimidation recorded in some areas, and stoning and trucks hijacked to use and block the road. But generally, it wasn't exactly violent the way we expect the taxi guys to be, because normally people expect gunshots to be fired here and there. But before midday, they reached a deal and they left the road. Of course, the damage had been done, but they went to a hotel not too far away within Johannesburg to meet both sides, because the transport department intervened and they held the talks and briefed their members on the agreements reached.
Right, the deal that you say that they reached, because I was going to ask you what the government is doing, but that now you mentioned it. How is this calming down the situation? It's not the first time this kind of strike is happening in South Africa. What's different about this particular deal?
No. There was one recorded about 2 weeks ago at the end of May in Durban, KwaZulu-Natal, which was huge as well. But the story, it's because over the same issue, they're saying the cost is a lot. That cars that was fully imported as of 10 years ago was 200,000 rand. And then if it's being assembled locally, produced locally, they're paying 450,000 rand, upfront for it. And then spreading it out, you're still paying 15,000 rand monthly installments, that it was too much for them, that they had to reduce the interest rate. So they wanted it reduced, and they got what they wanted, maybe not as much as they would have wanted, but they did get the interest rate reduced from 28% to 25%. And they also wanted the list of blacklisted taxi owners to be removed from the credit bureau record. And they got that. They got about 7,000 taxi owners removed from the ICC or the credit bureau record.
You said that, a lot of people going to work rely on these taxis to commute about the city. I mean, how is the strike affecting businesses and those people commuting? What's the situation?
Yes. The strike is over now, as I said, and in Durban as well. It happened when it happened. But this morning it was hectic. Even for those who opted to go by house train from Johannesburg to Pretoria, it was hectic for them because they couldn't even get to the station to go. School children, I heard an equivalent of a commissioner for earlier education saying that children who are doing exams don't need to go to school today because if they're going that way, it may be difficult for them. So many kids couldn't get to school, and many workers couldn't get to school. And then for some, jolly good day, because tomorrow is a public holiday. So they added that to the long weekend. But it was very hectic today because a lot of people were stranded, and they couldn't get to work.
Our South Africa Bureau Chief Betty Beer speaking to us from Johannesburg. Thank you so much for your time on Network Africa.